Hi there, it's Leslie, and welcome to your core connection. In this little program today, what we're going to look at is the lateral hip complex, the gluteus medius minimus, IT band, etc. When these areas of our body get sore and tight, life can be pretty uncomfortable because of this thing called, sciatic nerve, et cetera, et cetera. And most people will find that where they start to have a lot of issues, especially, is on the right side versus the left, because most of us are more dominant on the right side. That's the side we cross our leg over, that's the side we drive with, et cetera, et cetera. So with that being said, what we want to think about today is how can I get into here and give a nice lengthening movement while strengthening. Because we always think that, lengthening might be more along the lines of stretching, which it is, but at the end of the day, our load to explode comes from having really supple tissue, supple muscles. So we're going to be on basically on two springs, which is a yellow and a red balanced body. Or you could just do one red, or if you have a green on there, you could go one green. So what's going to be different is, generally speaking, when we do an Eve's lunge movement, we're here. So in our Eve's lunge, we're feeling the hamstring, the quad in the sagittal plane. All of this is a sagittal plane movement. Great movement. However, if I really want to get more into the gluteus medius, what do I need to do? Is I need to take my right foot in front and left foot back. Now, as you start to go into your lunge, start to lean a little bit into that right side and look over the left shoulder. Now we can also add rotation here of my thoracic spine. So now this movement becomes very dynamic, but I'm also working on a lot of flexibility here. So this rotation and gently pressing into the gluteus is nice. So to demonstrate on the other side so you can kind of see, I'm going to press into my left hip. I've got my left foot in front, my right foot crossed behind. So when you start to press, you start to open and come back to center, reach and open, come back to center. So this feels very, very different than doing just your sagittal plane movement. The same thing, when I'm here, I'm going to actually pre-position my right foot back and my left foot in front. Then when I start to reach out and pause here, we start to feel the lengthening of my whole right side body, because when I'm here and I reach, I feel a little bit, but pre-positioning my foot here is going to make a huge difference in that lengthening movement for my outer thigh. Feels really, really nice. It's such a nice stretch, but at the end of the day, we're also strengthening. You don't want to have such a high resistance on that you can't move through this. And I look at Pilates as, how can I, leave feeling better than when I walked in? So on our back, the same thing. What happens then is, by placing my left foot in the strap, and as you start to straighten out the right leg, and I kind of like the idea of a short strap a little bit more. Now, by just taking our foot here and internally rotating, we've already started to lengthen our IT band. As you start to let the leg fall over a little bit, again, we're going to feel all the way along IT band, gluteus medius minimus, because we're internally rotating the femur and the hip joint. Now, scooting your other foot a little bit over, similar to what we did standing, now when you start to bend this knee, the stretch is all the way along here. However, for some people, that's almost too much, and it may mean that you actually just place your strap then behind the knee, and now cross over, now lean into it. So what I like to do here is an additional assistance is taking my hand on the outer part of my thigh and now looking in the opposite direction so that I have this stretch, this lengthening in through the gluteus medius and minimus, and then coming back. So once again, these stretches or these movements feel really, really wonderful, especially, you know, if you're working with anyone that does pickleball or they do golf, anything that requires rotational and lateral movement, you want the hips to be able to be pliable, but they also need to be stable as well to find that mobility in our body. This is Leslie, your core connection, with just a few tips when using the reformer. Now, if you don't have a reformer, think about how you can once again pre-position that foot to be back once again. And if I wasn't on the reformer and I'm simulating this movement, is that reaching to the side, especially with both hands. By having this leg back, I'm going to actually side bend into my left side. I'm going to rotate into my right side. And then you can also take that stretch on your back, obviously, and do a spine twist by gently holding onto the knee. So once again, the more that we have mobility in the lateral part of our hips, the better function we're going to have for everything that we love to do, especially if you love rotational sports.